Hackers and hackerettes, welcome to a new video. In this video, we're going through operating system security in the operating system's basic TryHackMe pre-security path. And in this video, I actually finished the machine while realizing I'm not even recording. So I said, just for the sake of completion, since I already made every single other lab, so we're going to be doing it together, okay? I do have the machine running already. I have this IP address, so we're going to keep that in memory. Now, computer hardware refers you to everything, so you know what is the difference between software and hardware. Software is the programs you run. Hardware is the physical components. We talked about this in computer basics. So the most common operating systems is going to be, you have Windows here, and then you have Android as one of the biggest, 39.4, 32.1 being Windows, and then iOS, and so on, okay? Your smartphone might be running Android or iOS, and you might have plenty of private data on it, private conversation, private photos, email client, blah, blah, blah. And then you get introduced to the CIA. The CIA is not the Central Intelligence Agency. It is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It is the triad of security, I guess you could call it. And anything that is security related is going to be targeting one of the CIA triads. Or the CIA triad, like either the confidentiality, so you get access to things that you should not have, integrity, like manipulating data, availability is just making the data unavailable, similar to what is known as a DDoS attack or something like that. Let me put my mouse to charge here. Okay. So, in the next task, we will discuss common attacks against these security pillars, okay? So you get asked as a question, which is not an operating system. It is Thunderbird. Thunderbird is either an email client or a database. No, the database is called Firebird, if I remember. Thunderbird is an email client, if I remember. Yeah. Okay, so the next task will be the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In this room, we'll focus on 3 weaknesses and authenticate with weak passwords. Authentication is the act of verifying your identity, be it a local or a remote system. So in one of 3 ways: something you know, such as a password or a PIN code, something you are, such as a fingerprint, and something you have, such as phone number, via which you can receive an SMS message, okay? Since passwords are the most common, so there is a list of 100,000 most common. Oh, it looks like they removed the page here. So that link is dead. We should probably report this. But yeah, that link is dead right now. But anyway, we do get access to the top 20 passwords here that are often used. We can copy these. And if you remember these from the previous videos, if you haven't watched these videos, I do recommend that you do. And we're going to copy them like right here, because we are gonna reference them later. Okay, and then because all of these passwords like follow a specific pattern, you can see from 1 to 6, 1 to 9, QWERTY, which is like the letters here that are right next to each other on a QWERTY keyboard, 1s, whatever. So you can see how they all follow a similar pattern. Then you have weak file permissions. The rule of thumb here is you should follow the rule of the principle of least privilege. So that means you only get access to what you need and nothing else, okay? This is like the idea of all of these. And then access to malicious programs. This is known as a Trojan horse. Essentially, it is an application that looks harmless and presents itself as something useful, but inside of it, there is like malware or some hidden functionality that you don't know about that is actually harmful to you. Okay, so I'm trying to go like skip a bunch of these things, a bunch of this reading, because we want to actually get into the fun stuff, which is the practical stuff. And I'm pretty sure I'm giving the gist of everything and just saving you some reading time. All right, so which of the following is a strong password in your opinion? Now, I don't think this is a strong password, but it is one that does not exist in the list here that was provided. So each one of these is in the 20 list, but this one was not, so it was just the correct answer. This doesn't mean this is a strong password. Okay, now let's actually get to the fun stuff. So the fun stuff is actually we do have a machine. It is in our scenario, in our like cybersecurity job scenario, and then it's gonna see that we wanna SSH into the shell, and then we are going to do some stuff. So our idea here is that we already know a username and a password because they have it stuck on a like a notepad or like a sticky note, Sammy and Dragon, on one of the screens. So now we know like a username and a password for the SSH, where we're gonna take this a step further. Now, I want you to see that if you do not have if you don't know how to connect to the VPN of TryHackMe, you can click on connectivity here and then go to VPN and machine settings. And then you will go to Open VPN Advanced, which we're going to be using OpenVPN. Or we're actually going to be downloading our own file. So when you click on configuration files, you are on normal room, and then you can just download the configuration file. I already have that downloaded and I have it open right here. Now I do have two, but the one we're interested in is EU West. So I'm going to do sudo openvpn and then EU West. I'm running this on WSL, which is Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay. This is essentially an Ubuntu, but it is natively available in in Windows right now. So what I'm gonna do, I do have a folder called learning path, and in there I do have a OS security, and in there this is where we will be setting right now, and we'll be going to connect to the machine. So I skipped over all of the commands that I ran because all of these are previous knowledge. The only new thing to you might be OpenVPN. If you don't have OpenVPN on your Linux, you might just sudo apt install OpenVPN, which is going to install that, and then you can do sudo OpenVPN, and then the file that you downloaded, it's an OpenVPN configuration, and you will be connected to the machine, or like to the VPN. Now you will get the machine IP right here, the target IP address. I can copy it to clipboard, and then you can ping and paste in the machine. And we are not getting a ping, which means that we cannot reach the machine. That means we are incorrect here. Are you in EU Central perhaps? Let's try to ping the machine again. Okay, so yeah, I have two folders depending on where the machine is living. But right now we are in EU Central and the VM is located in Frankfurt, which makes sense, okay? So right now we are getting response. If you don't know what ping is essentially sends an ICMP or like a ping request to a specific IP address. We talked about ping in one of the videos that we discussed before. This is why I do recommend you watch the entire playlist in sequence, because a lot of context will be missed if you don't know like the previous videos, or if you haven't watched the previous videos. And it's really hard for me to explain everything from scratch every time we come across it. So I do recommend that you please watch the rest of the videos in sequence. I do have playlists. Like I try to keep everything organized in playlists, so it should be easy for you. Okay, so without further blabbing, let's actually connect to the SSH. Maybe this is the first time you see this. What we're going to do is we're going to write the word SSH. This should be pre-installed on almost every device you'll be touching. And then we do know that we have a user named Sammy. So you write Sammy @ which is the @ symbol. And then we paste in the IP address right here of the machine that we're connecting to. And we're going to press enter. Now it might here, because I connected to this machine before, it might here ask you if you wanna, like if you recognize the fingerprint and you trust it or whatever, just click yes or type yes. So once you type yes, it will now ask you for the password. We already know the password because we saw it on the sticky note. So we're gonna type dragon. And don't worry if nothing appears here. All passwords are hidden in the terminal. So just type dragon and press enter, and it's gonna work just fine. So don't worry if you don't see like any visual feedback here. So you get a bunch of stuff here. We don't care about that. You can see that we are logged in as Sammy. And then we have the machine right here. If you type who am I, you can see that we are Sammy, which means we logged in correctly. Super cool. Now we can do ls to check all of the things that we have here. If we go to password, you can see we get Sammy and Dragon which means that Sammy put his account details as a text file. If we do ls tag la to list everything, we've also discussed this before. You can see that the password file is, I don't think we talked about permissions in Linux before, but essentially this means this R stands for write, R stands for read. How does R stands for write? R stands for read, W for write, and then the empty thing here should be an X, kind of like this, which means execute. So the first three letters here stands for the owner of the file. The second one stands for the group of the file, and the third one, or the third group here, like the third three letters stand for everyone else, like the world is what they call it, like everyone else that is outside the owner and outside the group. So all of these files, you can see they are owned by the user Sammy and by the group Sammy, okay? So I'm not gonna get into much detail into the permissions on Linux. That will be like its own separate thing. Okay, so password.txt, we don't see anything that is interesting in here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna clear and then we're gonna keep reading. Are you sure you want to connecting? Click yes. Please note the following when entering the password over SSH. When you log in SSH, you won't see that you are typing the passwords. You are typing SSH. You won't see stars, dots, or any indicator on the screen that the password is being typed. However, the system still receives the password you are entering. So yeah, this is what I warned you about. Okay, so now we were able to connect. And now we have learned about two other usernames that can access the attacked machine, Johnny and Linda, okay? So now you know that we have both Johnny and Linda available as users on the machine. We recognize this by like physically going into the machine, going into the company and looking for like sticky notes or looking for other stuff similar to how we knew about Sammy and Dragon, okay? So this is how we found these usernames. And now we do have an opportunity to gain access as Johnny. Why Johnny specifically? Because Johnny is the one that is being asked about right here in these questions. So now we know we want to log in as Johnny. Now, of course, you know what the password for Johnny is because it's appearing right here, ABC123. But the idea of that, to know about it, you'll have to try like a bunch of these passwords. We do know that the password is 6 characters because there are 6 underscores here, like 6 slots that you can type in the answer before you fill it with the correct password. So now we know we're looking at passwords that are like 6 characters. So the way to do that, we could just type SU dash and then Johnny. And then it's going to ask us for a password. I'm going to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now this is going to fail. So it's going to tell me like authentication failure. Okay. I'm going to press the up arrow in order to bring the last command that I typed. Press enter and I'm going to type ABC123. Enter. And now congratulations, we are switched to Johnny. Now Johnny here is the second user that we have on the machine. And Johnny made a big mistake. So if you type the word history, history essentially shows you a history of the last used commands from a specific user. So for example, here you can see that Johnny tried to wget upload Wikipedia Commons tux to PNG. Let's actually look at it, and it is a Linux image. Cool. And then you can see that it tried to do root, and it looks like we have what is seemingly like a password here, happy hacking. Okay. So we're going to copy this because here is going to tell you once you're logged in as Johnny, the command history, or use the command history to check the commands that Johnny has typed. We expect Johnny to have mistakenly typed the root password instead of a command. What is the root password? Of course, it is the only thing that is seemingly like a password, happy hacking. So what we could do right now, we could do su-root and then we paste in the password and boom, we do have root. Root is the highest privileged user on a machine and it can do everything on a machine. If you do ls, we do see that we have a file here called flag.txt. And then once we do that, you will actually thm you got root. Now, why couldn't we do that with any other user? If you look at flag, everyone can read the flag right here, but it is owned by root. Only root can read and write. So for example, I'm going to show you something. If right now, when I type exit, I just exit from the current user. So now I'm still as Johnny. If I try to go root flag.txt, you're gonna see that I get permission denied. That means I do not have access as Johnny to access this path at all. Okay? This is why you would need to get root, or only root that has the highest privileges can do anything on the machine. And you get THM, you got root. This is the flag that you get, and we finish the module like that. Okay, so thank you for watching this. The next one, let's terminate this actually. So the next one is going to be, I'll show you right now. If you go to pre-security, the next one is going to be data representation. So this is like going to be a new module, and it's going to be in a playlist called Software Basics if you're following only in this software, in this playlist. But I do have a playlist called TryHackMe Pre-Security. You can watch that for the entire modules in sequence. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below if you like that, if you like the video. Give me some constructive criticism. I'm trying to give you a comprehensive knowledge base for cybersecurity, and as I myself learn alongside you. So we are I'm sharing the information as if we are learning together. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, so you can get more videos of like these. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. See you.